From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. So, can Montana Democrats bounce back this election year or in any year from the drubbing they took in 2020?
State health officials issuing a warning about what will happen with Omicron in the next few weeks. What they're saying is coming up. Well, happy Wednesday, Southwest Montana. It is 6:31. Chet Lehman, Matt Ello with you here on a really delightful winter day compared to what we've had in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, temperature this morning warmer than many of the daytime highs we've had this year. Let that sink in.
Right.
Nearly 40 degrees in Belgrade, 43 in Butte. Now, there is a downside to that. A lot of those side streets that still have snow and ice on them, I used the term earlier, it's greasy when you're driving. It is slick on those side streets, certainly, and there is some moisture out toward Missoula that does include a rain-snow mix, so there could be some ice that direction early on. But that winter weather advisory there was set to expire by 8 a.m. We are seeing a little bit of cloud cover here and there for the afternoon. Wind speeds expected to pick up as well. Here's a look at the temperatures today. Back near the 40-degree mark for the afternoon. We should be into the low 40s for both Bozeman and Butte. Don't look for temperatures to jump much above that, but definitely looking at a pretty mild start. We'll talk about what we are looking at, including a comparison of 24 hours ago. You won't want to miss that graphic. That's coming up here in a little over 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. Just ahead of 6:33, now our top story this half hour. Bozeman City Commission says yes to the controversial Canyon Gate residential annex. That happened last night. After hours of public comment in a December commission meeting, the vote was pushed into this week. Annexation passed with 4 commissioners voting in favor. Commissioner Coburn was absent from the meeting, but the annexation still managed to get 2/3 of the present commissioners to support it. Developer voluntarily agreed to limit the height of the building, and commissioners signed off on that. It will restrict the height to 50 feet or 4 stories. Now, residential buffer zones were also added to meet the concerns of neighbors.
And I'm beginning to think that it's time that we really rethink how we're zoning our community, and that it does make sense, as it was brought up in public comment by our first commenter today, about these areas where, you know, it would be very hard today to build a little area in Bozeman where you wanted to have a little community, a little market, and next to a little house, next to a little, I don't know, maybe a little hair salon or something like that. It's very difficult to do that.
Now, people who live in the area and oppose the project say the development will change the character of the area too drastically and create traffic problems. Developer says prices for the units will range from about $350,000 to $500,000. 6:34 now. The 2022 political season in Montana officially begins on Thursday, first day that candidates can file to run for office this year. While it may not be a big year in terms of statewide races, there's an understory that MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison has been following. In the wake of Republican dominance in Montana's 2020 election, are Montana Democrats prepared to reverse that trend? Or is Montana trending away from the tradition as politically divided so-called purple state toward one that is increasingly Republican red?
For the first time in more than 5 decades, Republicans in Montana won every statewide election on the ballot in 2020 in convincing fashion and expanded their already strong majorities at the legislature. Now, a year later, Democrats and their allies are trying to pick up the pieces and chart a path forward that doesn't include permanent minority status in Montana. One theme is heard often: they can't give up on rural Montana or other areas where they've been losing ground, or just losing big time.
If the Democrats think that the only strategy is to basically hang out in urban areas and run up the numbers there, then yeah, it's going to be moving towards an Idaho or Wyoming, because that's not a winning strategy. If they need a 56-county strategy.
Zach Brown is a Democratic county commissioner in Gallatin County. He won the formerly Republican-held seat in 2020 and says he did it by appealing to moderates and conservatives on issues like jobs and the economy.
And that's just how I'm wired as a person. And so that bleeds into my campaign strategy and my politics, which is trying to talk to the people that aren't already kind of with you and build solutions from there.
Brown, like Parker, also says Democrats still need a presence even in places where they know they're going to lose, so they don't lose as badly and thus have better statewide numbers.
In rural counties, we just have to get over this idea that we're not going to win, so we don't need to show up there. We have to go talk to those communities and be present and demonstrate that We're different than the national party.
Tops on the Democrats' list is Great Falls in Cascade County, a former Democratic stronghold, but where in 2020 every Democratic statewide and legislative candidate lost, often by big margins.
If we can't figure out how to compete in Cascade again, I don't know if we ever win statewide again.
Democratic Party officials and the only Democratic statewide office holder still standing, U.S. Senator Jon Tester, insist they're recommitting to local organizing in areas across the state. Tester says Democrats were hurt in 2020 because during the pandemic they didn't get out and talk to voters face to face, and now they can talk about accomplishments like bringing millions of infrastructure dollars to Montana.
So we've got a great message. It's just a matter of going out and talking to the folks on their turf about what you see and what you want to have happen in the state of Montana.
Democratic Party Executive Director Sheila Hogan also says Democrats had successes in 2021 in school board and city races across Montana, and that she senses a party ready to bounce back.
I talk to voters every day. People are energized and they're ready to go.
Yet Parker, the MSU political scientist, says he'd be surprised if Democrats can turn things around on a dime in Montana.
I'm not sure they can right the ship in 2022. I mean, there's a midterm election. Midterms usually do bad things for the party in power nationally. I'm not even sure if it's a 2024 fix. It could be as far as 2026 or 2028. So that's why they got to play the long game.
Kirsten Eway, the head of Forward Montana, a group that tries to energize younger voters in Montana, says Democrats have had success elsewhere in moving Republican-leaning states in the West to the Democratic column, like Colorado. But she says it takes more than just showing up at election time, and that political organizing is in a constant state of flux, making it difficult to know precisely what works.
What we knew to be true might not be true anymore in terms of how to run a campaign or how to win, how to connect with people, what messages resonate. We're just in a different world, so honestly, I don't know if anybody knows like what happened and how we can move forward. There's a lot of guesses, there's a lot of soul searching.
2020 was an outlier in Montana for voter turnout, with record high numbers because of an all-mail ballot that won't be repeated this year. But will a return to normal in 2022 benefit Montana Democrats? Nobody knows. And we have 11 months until we find out. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. 6:38 and other headlines this morning. Montana healthcare leaders say they're preparing for a possible surge of hospitalizations coming from the Omicron variant. Montana Medical Association, Montana Hospital Association, Department of Public Health and Human Services, and others took part in virtual news conference yesterday, warning about the possible impacts of Omicron and again encouraging people to get vaccinated and take other precautions. Dr. said it appears the new variant much more transmissible, more likely to infect people who have already been vaccinated or had COVID. Leader said while it appears Omicron cases are often less severe, the sheer number of new cases in the state, it could still put pressure on healthcare providers.
Not only is it an issue related to the number of patients, but our ability to care for the patients that we have when we take our caregivers out of rotation for being able to work in the hospital.
Montana Medical Association launching a website called yourbestshotmt.com. It's intended to encourage vaccinations, especially for kids ages 5 to 17, answer some of the questions parents may have about the shot. Now, State Health Department reporting just over 1,500 new COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours. Gallatin County once again registering the most in the state with 441. Active cases in the county now tops 2,100. Butte-Silverboe had just 34 new cases, falls into 10th place in the latest report. Hospitalizations creeping up again as well. 162 people statewide now in a hospital battling COVID. Well, you've likely heard about Flurona, the name, contracting the seasonal flu and COVID-19 at the same time. It's not a superbug, just two infections happening at once. Last week, Israel reported its first Flurona case, and the internet and social media went wild. But it turns out this co-infection has been around for some time. Dan Grossman dispels some of the fiction on what it means for you.
Perhaps what we are seeing with Flurona is a case in point about the misinformation that has been one of the few constants through this pandemic. Firstly, Flurona is a made-up name that simply refers to a co-infection of both COVID-19 and the flu, two very different viruses with fairly similar symptoms. This time last year, we saw hardly any flu cases as a second round of COVID lockdowns and masking helped keep it at bay. But this year, that doesn't seem to be the case, as the last week of 2021 saw the number of flu-related physician visits rise to 5%, twice what it normally is. The point is, with Omicron running its course and flu cases on the rise, it's not unheard of to contract both viruses simultaneously, although it is unlikely.
It's going to be based really upon your individual risk factors and what's going on in your community. Obviously, if you are in an area with very high spread of both, your risk is much higher than if you're in an area that has either less flu activity or less COVID activity.
It's worth repeating that these are different viruses, so being vaccinated for one does not protect you against the other. The same goes for contracting both viruses. Just because your body might be fighting one does not mean it will be good at fighting the other. If anything, it might be the other way around. An analysis of more than 100 COVID studies from last spring showed people who tested positive for COVID and another pathogen were 3 times as likely to die than someone who only tested positive for COVID-19.
If you have one virus, your immune system might be weakened, and so you could potentially have more problems. Just because you have COVID, it is not a protective thing to prevent you from getting the flu. So if you did have both at the same time, you could actually get the same symptoms, and actually they would work differently, but both kind of compound and make yourself sicker.
While that might sound scary, it is not guaranteed. And if you want the silver lining, protecting yourself from one through hand washing, social distancing, and masking is a great way at protecting yourself against the other. I'm Dan Grossman.
All right, 6:42, time for another break. When we come